What's up, Vault Dwellers? Dan here. You know, Hammer Films, they didn't just make horror movies, but they reinvented what horror could be. This little British studio, they took Universal's dusty monsters and made them bleed in Technicolor. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, they brought bright red blood on screen for the first time. Plus, they added some sex appeal mixed with gothic terror. This was the most successful independent film company in British history. So I've ranked 61 Hammer horror films, every Dracula, every Frankenstein, and even the lesbian vampires, all of it. This took months. Now, ranking 61 films in one video, that would be a little insane. So I'm going to break this down into multiple parts. Today, we're going to start with part 1, which covers 61 through 41. And these are the ones that maybe you heard of and might not be the best of the studio. Part 2 takes us from 42 down to 21. This is where things get interesting. And part 3 reveals my top 20. Now, this is my ranking, and it's based on impact, rewatchability, and what these films still deliver after all these years. Hey, I probably missed a few, and if I did, drop it in the comments. Let's dig up some graves. We're starting at the bottom with the Lady Vanishes, which is barely a Hammer film at all. This is a remake of the Hitchcock 1938 classic.
Excuse me. The lady who was sitting there, the English lady, do you know where she went?
There has been no English lady here.
Excuse me?
And look, I just absolutely love Sybil Shepherd, but this movie just does not work. It was Hammer's last theatrical release before they went dormant, and you can feel the studio just desperately trying to be something they weren't. There's no horror, no gothic atmosphere, just a competent but forgettable thriller that could have been made by anyone. It's a Hammer film in name only, and watching it feels like saying goodbye to an old friend who's already checked out. The saddest part, you can see them trying, but the magic, it was already gone.
Now look here, we have no intention at all of handing over Miss whatever her name is to you, so why don't you be a good chap, just clear off.
And we're going to talk about Hysteria, which is about an American in London with amnesia who gets caught up in a murder plot. I mean, it sounds promising, right? Freddie Francis, he's behind the camera, so this does look absolutely gorgeous. But this psychological thriller, it never quite finds its footing. It's one of those movies where you can see like all the pieces are there. You know, the twists, the paranoia, the shadowy London streets, but they never click together. Robert Wever does fine work in the lead, but the script, it just keeps tripping over itself.
You look as though you'd seen a ghost.
I think I've watched this about 3 times, just trying to figure out what exactly I'm missing.
Oh no, don't tell me I've fallen for this at my age.
And I'm just still not sure. I mean, it's not a bad movie, it's just, forgettable. And for Hammer, forgettable, it's the worst sin.
What is the matter?
Nothing, I just wanted to say goodbye.
Oh.
The Horror of Frankenstein. This one just hurts. Jimmy Sangster, who wrote some of Hammer's greatest scripts, he tries to do like a comedic reboot.
You've put on weight in a couple of places.
Not too much, I hope, sir.
Not at all.
Of the Frankenstein series with Ralph Bates replacing Cushing. And David Prowse, Darth Vader, he plays the monster who's wearing essentially a diaper and a bald cap. The tone is just all over the place. It's trying to be funny.
Poor selection. Very poor. Times are hard. People just aren't dying off so quick. It's the welfare state. That's what it is.
It's trying to be scary. And even sexy all at once. Bates is actually pretty good as a smugger, younger Baron, but you just keep waiting for Peter Cushing to show up and restore order. Unfortunately, he never does. It's like Hammer trying to be hip for the 70s and just missing completely. It gets points for ambition, though.
How do you do? I'm Victor Frankenstein.
We have one of my favorite Hammer movie titles, Lust for a Vampire. But it's not my favorite movie. It's the middle child of the Karnstein trilogy, and it shows. Jut Stensgaard takes over the Camilla role from Ingrid Pitt, and while she is beautiful, she just doesn't have that dangerous edge Pitt brought. The setting moves to a girls' finishing school, which, should be perfect hunting grounds for a lesbian vampire, but the script, it never really commits to the premise. The kills lack tension. The seduction lacks heat.
We'll go at midnight.
And just the whole thing feels rushed into production just to capitalize on the vampire lover's success, without understanding what made the film work. Ralph Bates, he shows up briefly before getting killed off, which feels like a total waste. Watch this for trilogy completeness only.
I only want to serve you. Please, I beg you, take me.
The movie Crescendo features Stephanie Powers, who plays a music student who visits a French villa to research a dead composer and discovers his family is deeply messed up. It's trying to be a psychological thriller, kind of in the vein of earlier Hammer shockers, but by 1970, this kind of story felt dated.
You need me, sir?
Get over here!
There is a heroin addiction subplot, and there's some incest implications. And James Olsen, he's doing his best tortured artist routine. The villa looks beautiful, and there are moments where you can see where they're going with this thing. But it just never commits to being truly disturbing or truly entertaining. It just kind of exists. It's a middle-of-the-road Hammer, but that's still completely watchable.
You must remember, my darling. It is I who you need. It is me who helps you.
Christopher Lee called To the Devil a Daughter the worst film he ever made for Hammer. And who am I to argue with this man? Based on the Dennis Wheatley novel, it's got Richard Widmark trying to save Nastassja Kinski from a satanic cult. The problem is, nothing really happens for most of the runtime. And when it does, it really doesn't make any sense. Lee, he looks embarrassed in this film. The ending is just famously awful. They literally ran out of money and just stopped filming. There's some creepy imagery involving a demonic birth, but it's wrapped in such a confused mess of a movie that it barely registers. Hammer's final horror film before the first hiatus, and it kind of went out with a whimper.
My element is fire. There's the emblem of fire. Never betray us, Henry. If you betray us, the pact will be put to fire, and fire will kill you in that same instant.
Alright, here's the thing with this movie. I kinda love the legend of the 7 golden vampires just for existing.
But beneath the image, the immortal power of Count Dracula.
So Hammer, they team up with the Shaw brothers to make a vampire kung fu film. And Peter Cushing, he's Van Helsing, and he goes to China to fight the 7 golden masked vampires. And it's exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. Christopher Lee refused to appear as Dracula because even he thought the script was too silly. So they got John Forbes Robertson instead. And yeah.
Who are you?
The martial arts sequences, they're pretty good because the Shaw brothers, they knew what they were doing. But the vampire stuff, it's hilariously cheap. It's just a cynical cash grab that became a cult curiosity. While I can't rank it higher, I can't hate it either. Scars of Dracula is a Dracula entry that is most notable for being just more violent than its predecessors. There's this scene where Lee tortures a servant with a heated sword that just completely surprised me. But the plot in this thing is an absolute mess. There's a young couple who searches for a missing brother, and they end up at Castle Dracula because, of course they do. The bad effects are just embarrassingly bad, even by 1970 standards. Lee is committed, as always, and he brings that cold menace he does just so well. But he really isn't given much to do. There's a weird resurrection sequence involving a rubber bat that's dripping blood that's just unintentionally hilarious. This is really just for die-hard Dracula completists only. The Old Dark House was directed by William Castle, which should have been absolutely interesting. But the results, they're just weirdly flat. Tom Poston plays an American car salesman who inherits an English mansion. Full of just eccentric relatives who just keep dying.
Really amazing how much you look like your twin Casper, Jasper. I'm sorry you left us. I liked you. Well, I like you both.
It's supposed to be a comedy horror, but the jokes, they really don't land, and the horror, it isn't scary. Castle was the king of gimmicks, but there's no gimmicks here. No skeletons flying over the audience, no vibrating seats, just a mildly amusing dark comedy that feels like everyone involved was just holding back. The 1932 James Whale original, it's still the one to watch. Blood from the Mummy's Tomb has a pretty tragic production history. Director Seth Holt, he actually died during filming. He had to drop out after just one day when his wife fell ill. Andrew Keir, he replaced him. And despite all that, there's something just hypnotic about this movie. Valerie Leon plays dual roles as both an Egyptian queen and her modern reincarnation. And she's just like absolutely mesmerizing. It's based on Bram Stoker's Jewel of the Seven Stars, and it's more psychological than most Hammer mummy films. The ending, alright, it's abrupt and confusing, and that's probably because of the production troubles. This is a fascinating near miss. The Satanic Rites of Dracula is Lee's final Hammer Dracula.
My revenge has spread over centuries and has just begun!
And what a weird note to go out on. The Count, he's now a London businessman, and he's planning to destroy the world with a bioweapon. And I'm not making that up. Peter Cushing returns as Van Helsing's descendant, and just watching these two legends face off again, it's still thrilling. Even in this bizarre context, Lee famously drew real blood from Joanna Lumley during a biting scene because, you know, he just really got into it. But there are flashes of the old magic here. The image of Dracula caught in a hawthorn bush, it's actually disturbing. It's not the send-off the series deserved, but it is memorable in its own right. Dracula A.D. goes mod. A century after Van Helsing stakes him, the Count is resurrected by some groovy London kids at a black mass in a deconsecrated church. Christopher Neame, he plays Johnny Alucard. Yeah, Alucard, you know, Dracula backwards. The swinging London scenes, they're hilarious now. You know, all the bad music in the worst fashion. But here's the thing with this film. When Lee and Cushing finally face off, just everything clicks.
Look on me, Dracula. Look on me. And remember.
These two could read a phone book together and make it compelling. Stephanie Beacham is great as Van Helsing's granddaughter. The movie's goofy and dated, but really, I can't help enjoying it. The Mummy's Shroud has neither Cushing nor Lee in sight, and you can feel their absence here. An archaeological expedition awakens an ancient guardian, and people, they just start dying. You know, standard mummy stuff. John Gilling directs with his usual competence, and there are some effectively eerie sequences, particularly the mummy attacks. But the characters are super thin. The villain is cartoonishly evil.
He will punish you for what you have done. And one by one, the others will follow you.
It is in the crystal.
And it is missing that star power that elevated other Hammer productions. Although Michael Ripper does show up, as always, and he's as reliable as ever. If you've exhausted the better mummy movies and need more bandaged mayhem, this will probably do. Otherwise, it's skippable.
I look into the crystal so I see death. You are going to die very soon, but not the way you think.
Countess Dracula features Ingrid Pitt, who plays Elizabeth Bathory, and she's the real-life countess who allegedly bathed in virgin blood to stay young. But despite the title, there are no vampires in this film. This is a historical horror about vanity and obsession. Pitt, she's just fantastic in this movie. She plays both the aging countess and her youthful self with just real emotional depth. The gore is restrained, but totally effective. The problem here, though, it's the pacing. It just drags in the middle when it should be building tension. The director's direction is elegant but distant.
Ah, yes, of course.
It is worth watching for Pitt's performance and the gorgeous period detail. But really, it never quite reaches the heights it's reaching for.
Don't you want to see me young and happy again?
So that you can make love to young officers, I'd rather have you as you are than see you parading yourself like some jaded young slut from the whorehouse. At least there's dignity.
Fear in the Night stars Judy Keeson, who plays a young woman who's recovering from a breakdown and moves to her husband's boarding school and starts seeing things that may or may not be real.
You don't believe me, do you?
I believe you think you were attacked. What I really think happened is that you either fainted or fell. Your imagination did the rest.
Peter Cushing plays the headmaster, and there's just something deeply unsettling about him here, which, that's Peter Cushing, right? The gaslight horror tropes, they're well worn, but the director, he absolutely knows how to use them. Joan Collins shows up being just very Joan Collins.
What the hell are you doing here?
Which, is always fun.
You could get your head blown off creeping around like that.
The twist is predictable if you've seen this kind of movie before, but the execution, it's solid. It's a minor Hammer thriller that does its job without reinventing the wheel. The Evil of Frankenstein is the film where Hammer finally got to use Universal's monster makeup. So you do get something a bit closer to Karloff's flat top look. The result is, well, let's say it's mixed. Kiwi Kingston plays the creature, but without the tragedy that Lee brought to the role.
Wake up. Sorry! You need to yourself! Get hold of him!
Peter Cushing is just rock solid as always.
Good night.
And there's this carnival hypnotist subplot. It actually goes somewhere interesting. But this still feels like a step backward from the more original direction this series had been taking. The monster looks great, but he just doesn't do very much in this film. Die-hard Frankenstein fans, you'll find things to appreciate. Casual viewers, you can probably skip ahead. In The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, we have a showman who wants to exploit an Egyptian mummy for profit. And this goes about as well as you'd expect.
You have been warned.
Terrence Morgan plays the lead, and there's a decent twist involving his character that I'm not gonna spoil here. The mummy itself, it's less memorable than in the 1959 film, but the Victorian sideshow elements, they are fun. Michael Carreras directs without much flair, but the production values, they're there for this film. It looks great. Fred Clark's American promoter character, he's enjoyably sleazy in this thing. You'll love him.
It's chicken feed. You seriously expect me to pack up this whole kit and caboodle and ship it back?
But this is not essential. Although, if you are in the mood for bandaged vengeance and haven't gotten enough from the better entries, this will scratch that itch. Demons of the Mind. This one's kinda weird. A baron, he keeps his adult children locked up because he believes his family is cursed with murderous insanity. There's like Freudian psychology involved here.
You were incapable of carrying out these fantasies, and now you and your children share these impulses. They are the key. Tell me about the children.
Repressed sexuality.
Oh, Elizabeth, I don't know what madness is upon us. As long as you're safe.
And some genuine disturbing imagery.
I'm not Elizabeth! I'm not! Amy. I'm not!
Not?
Robert Hardy, he's excellent as the patriarch, and Patrick McGee shows up as this wonderfully unhinged expert. It doesn't quite come together though. The ending feels rushed and kind of unsatisfying, but it's one of Hammer's most ambitious films from this period. They were clearly trying to move beyond their standard formula, which I respect the attempt, even if the execution falters.
She's here. She fell asleep. Elizabeth, she has keys. Elizabeth, she has. You've got to get them. Then we can get far away from here. We'll be safe together.
I'll try.
Rita Tushingham plays a lonely Liverpool girl in Straight On Till Morning, and she moves to London seeking excitement and falls for this handsome man.
Hello.
I think I found your dog.
Who turns out to be a serial killer. You know, some women, they just have that type of luck. Shane Bryant, he is just so unsettling as the charismatic psycho. And there's like this scene involving a dog that made me pause the movie.
Don't worry. He always comes back. Think.
This is Hammer trying to be contemporary horror. And while it's not entirely successful, it is disturbing as hell in places. The 70s London setting, it feels authentic, and Tushingham's vulnerability, it makes you root for her even when she's making terrible decisions. This is an underrated curio. You should check it out. Captain Kronos, the vampire hunter, was way ahead of its time, and unfortunately, it was ignored at the box office. Horst Jansen plays a swashbuckling vampire hunter with a hunchback assistant and a samurai sword. And Caroline Munro,
And what crime have you committed?
I danced on a Sunday.
she plays Carla. She's the love interest, and I have to tell you, I've had a crush on her for like 30 years after I first saw this.
No, I'm staying. If you'll have me.
Oh. I'll have you.
This is Hammer trying to create an action horror franchise, and honestly, this movie rules. The vampires here, they drain youth instead of blood. Which is just an awesome and fresh twist to the storyline. There's sword fighting, gallows humor, and a surprising amount of wit in Brian Clemens' script. It flopped because audiences, they just didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't gothic enough for traditionalists, or gory enough for exploitation fans. But if you watch this thing now, you can see what they were going for. This movie just totally deserved a sequel.
Well, if he's not a king, why does he leave us to do all the work?
He has to conserve his strength. We've ridden far, and tomorrow we will be where we must be. And that's when his work will begin again.
And that wraps up the first part, films 61 through 41. We've dug through the lesser entries, the misfires, the noble failures, and some underrated gems that deserve more attention. But here's the thing, we're just getting started. The next 20 films in part 2, that's where Hammer really starts cooking. We're talking Oliver Reed losing his mind, Peter Cushing doing his thing, and some of the best psychological thrillers the studio ever made. In part 3, well, that's the top 20, the absolute essentials. You know, Dracula, Frankenstein, and the films that changed horror forever. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss parts 2 or 3, and drop a comment telling me which Hammer film you're waiting to see ranked. I want to know if your favorite made the top 20, or if you think I've lost my mind. Keep it weird, folks.
In the early days, after I go back 16 years, everything that Frankenstein did was impossible. So therefore he was creating things that couldn't be created by man.
It takes 2 hours and all the ingenuity of the makeup artist before this gentle giant joins his distinguished predecessors, Lon Chaney and Boris Karloff,